Okay, welcome to my first lesson in Groovy programming. There's not a lot of resources online to help with the learning process of Groovy and developing software. So I was going to make this video to share what I've learned. I absolutely love the Java programming language, and when I found Groovy, I absolutely fell in love with that as well because it's like Python for the JVM. The JVM is the Java Virtual Machine. So you're going to need Java, the JDK, which is the Java Development Kit. It also comes with the Java Runtime Environment as well as the Java Virtual Machine. You need that because Groovy outputs bytecode, which is interpreted by the JVM to produce the machine language which the CPU uses, of course. I hope my background music is not too loud. But it generally helps with understanding new concepts of this type of music. In any event, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down a GitHub repository, and in order to do that I need to make a new directory. I'm going to call it Cube Relations ls to see it. Cubed Relations. Okay. I'm not sure why I have two of them there. This is not supposed to be there, so we'll go ahead and delete that. Okay. So we'll clear this and then ls again, so we see one there. Cube Relations. I'm going to change directory into Cube Relations. Okay. This is the program that I've made because it is very interesting how we can get the cube of a number without cubing it. I'll show you that. We are going to git init this directory, initialize empty git. Okay, we'll clear that. And we can ls all so we can see all. There's the folders, the git right there. Okay, and now we're going to pull down what we want to do is github.com/tetrapro. That's my name on GitHub. And then / the file, which I can't remember what exactly it is. So it's right here, and it's lowercase cubed relations dot get. Okay, so let's go back here, and it's cubed with a D, capital R relations dot get. Okay, so this will automatically then pull down. You can see what we did here. We'll list again. There's our file. Okay, now we're going to go to our I'm going to open up a new project in my IntelliJ IDE. I'm not going to use the IntelliJ IDE to write code. I'm just going to show you this as an let's see here. Well, let's just open this. Let's just open one of these, and I'll open a new one when we get here. So we'll go File, Open, and it's in Philip, Documents, yes, and Cube Relations. That's what I want. I'm going to show you something about the Groovy programming language because we're going to write a script, but the scripts are always embedded in a class. So if we open this, you can see there is no class definition here. It's just a script, okay? So what I'm going to do then is I'll go back to my terminal and we'll say Groovy compiler. Something happened over here. Add git. Do you want to add the following file to git? Cube Relations ECS? No. Okay, so go back over here. We're going to do Groovy compiler, and then we're going to call the file cubed relations .groovy, and it's going to compile that and add a class file. Alrighty, if I list this again, you can see there's our class file there. We'll go ahead and clear. And then it should show up here. I'm going to open this class file up, and it's going to decompile the class, and it's going to show you, look at what actually this file is compiled to. This is Groovy, and it automatically imports all of these. Okay, and you can see the class cube relations that we called over here, that we created this script, is actually being made as a class called the same name and extends the script. Okay, so it is a class. it gets into a class. There's our main method, as you can see. Okay, and then our logic that we've created. Okay, it gets all put in here. So basically, that's what I wanted to show you, is that this gets the imports are automatic. It is a class, and it extends the script class. Okay, that happens automatically. We don't have to do any of that when we write a Groovy script. Okay, so I'm going to tab this down. I'm going to go back to our Atom text editor, because I like to write the code in the text for a simple script. We don't necessarily need the IDE unless we're doing a big project, or wanting to show and illustrate a concept like I just did. So programming is very much like mathematics, and the discovery of mathematics is writing formula. Okay, that for example, the quadratic formula, is this definition for the quadratic equation. Okay, so we set it equal to 0, and then we solve for x, and x is going to equal negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You've seen this before. If you're doing software development, I'm sure you went through math class, and you plug in the values, a into a, b into b, c into c, and then you do the computation. Yes? Okay, so what we do using software is we create a definition, and then we will let the CPU or the computer do the computations and produce a result. For this first example, we're going to do an x squared formula. We're not going to do the quadratic, but x squared, and then we're going to take x. Okay, so this is a definition, is right here, and then the curly braces for the logic that goes inside. Now what we do in software development is we define what is called a method or a function, just like in math, and then we define the logical steps for that. In Java, we do a return statement, but this is it would be like this: x times x, wouldn't it? Okay, I like to put the space in there so we can see it very clearly. In Groovy, however, the last statement of a method is automatically returned. So the whole idea of using Groovy is to make it like Python and to reduce the amount of code that we have to explicitly write. Okay, there's a lot of implied logic that goes on behind the scenes with the Groovy compiler, and that's the point of it. Okay, so we use the def keyword. It's a dynamically typed language, where Java is statically typed. So instead of returning an int like this, integer, or even an int, we can use the def keyword, because it's a definition, and the Groovy compiler will automatically find that it's an integer being returned, and it will make an integer. And to show you that, we could call get class on the object, and it would print out what exactly that is. Perhaps we'll do that. The next step we want to do is we want to add the values to a spreadsheet, so that we can see, compare one row of number or one column of numbers to the output. Again, define, we'll call it output. We're going to say new file object. Okay, and we can use single quotes in Groovy. The double quotes mean interpolated, which means we can add a variable into the string without concatenating them. However, this is just going to be where it's at. I'm sorry, where are we? The file location is going to be in root, home, / Philip, that's my folder, and then it's in documents. We'll call it documents, and then we will call it output.cvs for comma separated value. It's important to keep this in mind when we're adding it, because it's separated by commas, of course, to get into a new column. So here we're going to call the output object. We're going to left shift operator is an overloaded operator, which means add to the file, and we're going to do single quotes, and we're going to add x comma next column is going to be x squared. Okay, so that's a title. Basically, don't forget to add the new line operator, otherwise it'll the next row is going to be added to the same line. Okay, so in Groovy we have this range object, which is 1 to 10 we want to do, and we're going to call a closure on it. A closure is very much like a method, except the definition is a little bit different, but for functions sake, it's used like very much just like a method or a function. So in here we're going to define some logic. Say 1 to 10. Okay, we're going to do the output again. Call the output object left shift operator. This time we're going to in a Groovy closure there's an implicit reference variable called it. As you can see, we're going to add the comma to get to the next column, and then now we're going to call the function or the method that we defined up here, x squared. I can copy that just as easily and then paste it. Oops, I'm not sure what I did. Let me go back there and just type this, x squared, capital S, Q, yep, there it is. And we will pass in the it operator here. So this one's going to be, the first one iteration through here is going to be 1. It's going to say 1, comma, and then 1 squared is 1. We're going to add in our new line operator so that we get a new line for each row, and it's not going to be all on the same row. So the second time it's going to come around, it's going to be 2, 2, comma, 2, pass in the squared. It's going to be 2 times 2, which of course we know is 4, and that's the expected output. It's going to go through 10, and then it'll get to here, and then we can say print line. And the reason we don't have to type in system.out.println is because, as I said, Groovy comes with a whole bunch of automatic imports, which make this redundant. We don't actually need that. The point is to reduce code. So we're going to print line, we can call the output .text. And that should produce exactly what we want to do. So I'm going to go over here to our, let me change directory into documents, list, fun Groovy. So I say Groovy, fun, that's the title of this object. I shebanged the first line, as you can see right here, Universal System Resource bin environment Groovy, so I don't have to do the .groovy file extension. I could, it would work just the same, I don't have to. The point of Groovy is to reduce typing, right? So here we're going to see it's going to add the data to our file and then output it. It looks like I already had the file there to begin with, so it just wrote over it. Let me go ahead and delete this, output CSV. Okay, so when I go back here to run it again, it should just run it once. And if you hit the up arrow in your Linux terminal, you go to your last command, you can see up or down, and just hit enter again so we don't have to type it again. And there it is, the x squared, and then the first column and the second column. And we will go over here and open it in our LibreOffice. I use Linux and open source software as much as I can because open source software is very much beneficial to licensed software, where licensed software you have to pay to use it and it benefits only the shareholders of the company who produced the software. Open source software is created by volunteers who write it for the community's benefit. And of course you can do everything with source software as you can with licensed, and since it's benefiting the community and not just a select privileged people, to me that creates a huge benefit. So as you can see, we have the title was in the first row, and then the 1 through 10 here, and then the output of our function that we defined, which is x squared. You can see that 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, and of course the rest are obvious. 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, and so forth. And that's how we do that. So as a first little introduction to our Groovy, we did a couple different things here. We showed how to get init and then pull a document down. I showed you from here how to get the cubed relation. Decompiled file from the class. After you compile the Groovy, you can decompile it to see what the and that's what you use the IDE for here. Not necessarily. I just showed you how to do that. Groovy is very much like Python on the JVM. So it's fun to write. It makes developing software fun again. So there you go. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much.